This is the Mariners POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Seattle Mariners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So this team can pitch. I don't know if you knew that or not, but this team can pitch. Mariners win 1-0 to complete a 3-game sweep of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Welcome to the Locked On Sports Mariners POSTCAST. My name is Christopher Crawford. I'm usually joined by Anders Hurst. Anders taking some time away to tend to some family fun stuff. So congratulations to him on having a family that likes him. My family's sort of so-so on me. We're going to talk about a bunch of things today. A tremendous pitcher's duel between George Kirby and Paul Skenes. Randy Arozarena continuing to just, I think if anybody wants this homestand to keep going, it's Randy Arozarena. And then we'll also offer an unsung hero. Again, we go live after every single Seattle Mariner game, whether it's good, whether it's bad, or whether it's somehow in between. This was a good one. And here's the thing I want to talk about real quick. You just played 17 games in a row. And as somebody just brought up, my good friend Sushi Dude, now they have a much-deserved day off tomorrow. Yeah, deserved. Because over those 17 games, they went 11-6. 11-6 without a day off is commendable. Commendable is probably an understatement. Speaking of commendable, let's start with the start, which is what we always do. George Kirby, I mean, as good as he looked in that game where he struck out the 14, I actually think that his stuff was better today. Now, maybe I'm just a little bit of a victim of recency bias, recent history, recency bias, whatever you want to call it. But oh my gosh, everything was clicking for him today. He gives up the 4 hits, but George Kirby had no hit stuff today. He strikes out 9. He doesn't walk anyone, which we're used to. And this is now 3 straight starts where George Kirby has looked like George Kirby. So as somebody else pointed out, George Kirby's back. George Kirby is absolutely back. And again, the 14K game, that's fine if you want to say he was at his best that game. Either way, 6 1/3 innings of shutout baseball with 9 strikeouts, 7 innings of 2-run baseball, 14 strikeouts. Either way, it's fantastic. And it's worth pointing out that, as the commenters point out, that Mitch Garver behind the plate again, there's clearly a confidence. Now, we've seen him pitch well with Cal Raleigh behind the plate too. But boy, every time Garver's behind the plate for Kirby, it just seems like something great happens. I was super impressed with his command today. There were a couple of nasty sliders. Just vintage George Kirby. And we got 3 straight unbelievable starts. So I believe they mentioned this at the beginning of the broadcast, but this was the first time a team who had shut out their previous 3 had a shutout in the previous 3 games. Excuse me. Cat got my tongue and then some there, and then was shut out over the next 3. That's crazy. And sure, some of that credit goes to the Pittsburgh Pirates not being a very good offensive team. But, oh my gosh, the starters were good. Brian Wu was fantastic. Luis Castillo was as good as he's been this year for sure. And then George Kirby either had his first or second best start. Either way you want to go, just a spectacular pitching performances. But as my buddy Brian points out, nobody else says this, Brian, the bullpen was fantastic today as well. Gabe Spire was as good as I have seen him look over his inning with the 3 strikeouts. I think that's like 2 out of 3 times that he struck out the side. And then Andres Munoz, a fantastic effort as well. Now, on the other side of that, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Paul Skenes, right? Because we are a daily show. We react to per game, and this is not a Pittsburgh Pirate channel. If you weren't impressed with Paul Skenes over those 5 innings, oh my goodness gracious. If that's not the best pitcher in baseball, Tariq Skubal must be really good. Because holy crap on a cracker, that guy's stuff is just sick. And you see the way he commands it too. How many strikeouts right on the black, 98 to 99 miles per hour. Just filthy. Absolutely filthy. And it wasn't a great offensive effort, and we'll talk about that in a second. Maybe we should talk about we'll take a quick commercial break, then we'll talk about the offense because there's some good and then there is some not so good, but Monarch Money is always good. And as I'm clearing that up, ever wish your money felt easier managing it anyway? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Now, Anders keeps saying it's just a budgeting app, but he's wrong. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building your wealth. How many things can you say that about, right? That you can actually do both. It's either you have to have one app for managing your money, one app for all your subscriptions, one app for all your stocks, one app for all your other stuff. No, you can do it all through Monarch Money, and you can take control of your finances and use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. That's a pretty good deal, guys. Not too many things that you're getting half off on. Okay, let's talk about the offense because let's start with the first inning, literally. So JP Crawford leads off, lines a single to first base, lines a single to center field to get to first base. And then Big Dumper, after Julio, actually, I think has a pretty good at bat, strikes out with the full count. We'll talk about Julio in a second too. Strikes out, and then Big Dumper gets hit in the foot. And Jorge Polanco comes up, and congrats to him on his 1,000th hit. This is such a weird one. He comes into home plate. I'm sorry, I was watching the replay literally as it was happening on my television. Sometimes I get distracted. You guys know that. Literally comes into home plate and doesn't slide. Now, there's a couple of things. And Brian, I saw you mention this on social media. I'm glad you're bringing it up now. Randy has to tell JP that throw's coming. Got to be waving him to hit the deck. So, for those who missed it, JP gets faked out. Because the catcher is just standing there, he just runs in to home plate. Number one, slide anyway, okay? You've got to get that slide. But Randy should have been there waving him down. Somebody should have been. You've got to get down. And I think, and you know what? That's what I was just thinking myself. Cinnabon points out, maybe Randy got deked too. It looked like he was blocking the plate as well. I knew that call wasn't going to be overturned. You have to be just parked on the plate. Either way, if Crawford slides there, it's a run. If he slid the plate, wasn't blocked. Yeah, that's another good point too. But you got to get down. You got to get down. And this was not JP's best game. He does line a single, like I said, off of a very hard pitcher to line a single against. He almost made 2 errors in the field. He made another play I really didn't like where he charged up the middle. I'm maybe being too hard on my son here. Those of you who know, my last name's Crawford. His last name's Crawford. And credit to O'Neill too, Cruz too. He threw 105. It was a perfect throw. But if JP gets down, he's safe. That almost cost the Seattle Mariners the game today. But it didn't, because Randy Arozarena is the greatest baseball player in the history of baseball players. Or at least he has been over this homestand. Absolutely on flipping fire right now. I believe that was 6 homers on this homestand. If it wasn't 6, it's close to it. I know he had 8 coming into the homestand, and I think he has 14 now. I can just look at the box score right now. Whatever the total is, he is driving the baseball so much more effectively. And it's great to see because they need it. They need it because outside of Big Dumper, they just aren't getting those round trippers. It's been a while since Polanco. I guess it hasn't been that long since Polanco, but it's been a while since Julio. And outside of really him and Canzone, the power just hasn't been there sans Randy Arozarena. What a fantastic homestand. And what a wonderful reminder of how talented this guy is. And also a reminder of just how hot and cold he runs. That's the nice way to put it, which is a weird thing to say for a guy who draws a lot of walks, but the power comes in surges. And right now we are seeing the good kind of power surge, the kind that you don't need to get the extended warranty for. He is just clobbering the baseball, just absolutely mollywopping it. And it's been really fun to see. Now, I wanted to talk about some other offensive games today. Dom Canzone, 3 for 3 today, and some hard contact against, again, I don't know why I went Canadian there, against a hard pitcher to make hard contact against. Slashed the ball into right field. It's great to see it has not just been power with Dom Canzone. He has really helped in the average category. Very much been a contributor in that category for sure. Polanco with the single. Congratulations on 1,000 hits. That's a heck of an accomplishment. 1,000 hits is a tough one to get to. Now, it's not like Hall of Fame or anything like that, but you've put yourself in the conversation of Hall of Really Good. And there's plenty of time for him to potentially reach that 2,000 mark. I'd honestly probably bet against it, but it's great to see him starting to make hard contact again. He should have had an RBI. This should have been a 2-0 win. Rayleigh struggled. Garver struggled, but again, behind the plate. Miles Mastrobuoni didn't have a good time. Nobody had a good time against Paul Skenes. We're being completely honest with you. Except I will say, and here comes the Chris Crawford Julio apologist stuff. I really like the game he played today. He has 2 3-2 strikeouts and then that double to the opposite field. And the reason why those 3-2 strikeouts matter, you were able to get Paul Skenes out of this game after the 5th inning. And that's not just on Julio. That's on a few guys who had some really good at-bats. I was surprised Skenes only threw 78 pitches, but seeing an opposite field double on a hard contact opposite field double too, and a couple of times where he strikes out, sure, but on perfect 3-2 pitches. It's a big reasons why Skenes only goes 5. And what happens right after Skenes leaves the game? Literally right after. We get the Randy Homer. Someone saves Skenes, man. Tan puts out. How about Seattle? I would love it. I would love it. He is as fun of a pitcher to watch in the sport. And oh, by the way, he's pretty darn good too. Pretty darn good too. Real quick, let's talk about the fact that the Mariners have 4 All-Stars. And one of them was really obvious. In fact, we already knew. It was Cal Raleigh. But then we also get Brian Wu, much deserved. Andres Munoz, much deserved. And Julio Rodriguez. And look, offensively, does Julio Rodriguez belong to be an all-star? No. And here we go, Kim Stars. In spite of everything you guys talked about yesterday, do you believe Julio's all-star selection is warranted? Yes, for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's an exhibition game. Number 2, you reward defense and speed and value. And by speed, defense, value, all-around play, being an average offensive player and a upper echelon elite defensive player on top of providing value on the basis, you deserve to be an all-star. Now, here's the third thing, and he's a reserve and second in WAR among outfielders. Yeah, it's a great point by Cinnabon. Absolutely. This also speaks to the fact that the American League all-star selection for outfielders in this group wasn't the best. It was not exactly. There's that Aaron Judge, and then Riley Green's having a good year. Javier Baez is having a good year. It really lacks in quality and quantity. So I have no issue with it. Mainly, again, because it's an all-star game. I love Julio Rodriguez. He's one of my favorite players. But as Sushi Bud points out, it's fair to criticize his offense, but he's an all-star with tons of potential. And realized potential too. Because this guy, let's not act like he's never produced before. It's just not been on a consistent basis for 2024 and especially 2025. Especially 2025. So if you just look at the offensive stats, no, Julio Rodriguez doesn't belong. I'm glad they looked at more than just the offensive stats. I'm glad they looked at what he does with the glove, what he does on the bases. He's an all-star. He's an all-star, and I'm very, very happy for him. I don't think there are any snubs for the Mariners. I guess you could argue Luis Castillo might be in that conversation. Kirby, obviously, no, because, the numbers still aren't that great. Gilbert, because he hasn't pitched enough. I don't know if anybody outside of maybe JP Crawford is somebody that you could consider there. I won't be shocked if JP makes it as a reserve when there's an injury or something like that. Somebody brought up that Jeremy Pena. Matt Brash is another conversation we could have. I don't think Spire, you'd have to have, if you're a middle reliever, you got to have an ERA of like 1.5. So, and as Black Mantis here points it out, Pena did make it along with Hader and Brown. Pena probably isn't going to go. So we will probably see that, we will probably see him get replaced by someone, and I think it should be JP Crawford. All right. Thank you guys so much. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Really appreciate the support. We'll be back Tuesday. A huge series coming up with the Yankees, followed by a series with the Tigers, and we will be live for every single one of those videos. Anders and I will be back with you on Tuesday for sure. Just love doing this. Have had a blast, and what a fun pitchers duel we got. Appreciate this. Appreciate you got to watch Paul Skenes. That guy's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. I know that's a huge hot take for a guy who, it's a huge hot take in one way on one side because it's like, oh, wow, Paul Skenes is that good. And then it is a hot take because the dude's pitched on like 9 games. But man, what a fun pitching performance. And it's so fun to see the Seattle Mariners. It's so fun to see the Seattle Mariners come out on top. See you guys later.